Genotype and phenotype. Remember, every organism has DNA. The DNA contains alleles for traits. You have two of every allele, one from mom and one from dad. Remember, your parents give both of their genes when creating you. This is in the form of alleles, or DNA. Enough alleles create the genetic code that makes up you and the given traits. What is a genotype? A genotype is the genes that make up an organism. When we are talking about if the organism is heterozygous or homozygous, we are talking about its genotype. When we're talking about phenotype, we're not looking at the outside features, but rather what makes them. For example, this shark could have a white belly. However, that would be the phenotype of it. Instead, if we're asking about the genotype, we would say if it's big B, big B, little b, or little b, little b. Talking about specific alleles is also the genotype. What is a phenotype? Phenotype is the traits that are seen in an organism. When you are talking about fur color, eye color, it's all phenotype. With a phenotype, we're looking at what the alleles actually make, or the traits that we're seeing. For example, if we looked at this shark and did some genetic analysis, we would see that it's big B, little b. However, that's talking about the genotype. The phenotype would be the fact that it's got black eyes, or the trait that's seen. Some things to be careful of. The genotype always determines the phenotype. Genes are what makes up the trait. Remember, you can't have a trait without genes, so the genes always make up what we see in an organism. You can always tell the phenotype if given the genotype. For example, big B, little b equals the dominant trait is seen. I can always tell what trait is going to be seen if I'm given the genes for it. For example, if I'm given big B, little b, or big B, I can figure out the determining trait. If we have a black fur rabbit, what's the genotype? It could be big B or little b, or big B. We can't tell. You cannot always tell the genotype if given the phenotype. An example, in rabbits, black fur is dominant. For example, I can tell this shark is a flying shark. However, just because I know the phenotype, I cannot determine the genotype.